I'm Dr. Dave Janda. Welcome back to the Operation Freedom platform and our ongoing series on health and wellness with my good friend, Dr. Peter Glidden. One of the reasons why, there are many reasons why, big pharma, big medicine like the AMA, big insurance, why they despise this series that Peter and I present to you every other week. I think this is about our 65th, 64th video in this series. They're all available on this YouTube channel, Operation Freedom channel, on operationfreedomhealth.com and also davejanda.com. Now, one of the reasons why they can't stand this is because when we present information to you, we present information for you to empower yourself and your health and your wellness. This is not dependent on big government who, because they want you to believe that, well, you can't be healthy. You can't stay healthy if it's not for Doc Cuomo or Doc Fauci or Doc Whitmer or Doc Biden, right? They're gonna deep six Dr. Seuss, but they would never deep six themselves, right? And they want you to believe the only way you can be healthy and stay healthy is with the political elite, with the help of big pharma, big insurance, and big medicine. And what we show you and tell you is that, look, you need yourself, you need to do your research, but there are things you can do to empower your own health and wellness. The title of today's presentation with Dr. Glidden is The Surprising Science, because you'll never get this science from big pharma, big insurance, big medicine, big government. The surprising science behind medical nutrition. Now, about Dr. Glidden. He's one of the top naturopathic physicians, not just in our country, but the world. In addition, Dr. Glidden is an outstanding author. I encourage you to get his books. They're the foundation of our medical library. Everybody is sick, and I know why. An Attempt to Cure with Holistic Medicine, available on Amazon. It's my honor to welcome back my friend, Dr. Peter Glidden. Peter, welcome back to the Operation Freedom platform.
Thanks, Dave.
Okay, Pete, surprise everybody. Because big pharma, big medicine, big insurance, big government, they don't want people to be aware of the science behind medical nutrition.
Yeah, and this is a meme that's found its way into popular culture starting right around the 1960s. I don't know who started it. I don't know who perpetuated it, but if I had to guess, I would say it's big pharma and their operatives, also big insurance. And the meme is that, oh, those naturopaths, oh, those homeopaths, oh, those chiropractors, oh, those Ayurvedic practitioners, they're all practicing unscientific, dangerous quack medicine. And the only people that have the secret decoder ring to all things medical are the MDs, and those are the only people you should pay attention to. It's health through poison, health through pharmaceuticals is your only hope. It's your only alternative. Don't pay attention to anybody else because they're just back of the bus quacks delivering substandard medicine. Now, that's kind of the socialized meme that most people in this culture have grown up inside of. And as evidenced by the fact that when push comes to shove, most people, even if they're a little bit, inclined to believe what we say, or they're a little bit in favor of what we do, when push comes to shove, they get a physical ailment, a physical illness, they're going to go right to the emergency room. They're going to go right to their medical doctor, because when you push hard against that, their support and understanding of what holistic medicine has just falls to the wayside because it's not grounded in anything. Mm-hmm. And this is ironic, because what we do, what my profession does, and I say this all of the time, is develop and deliver science-based, clinically verified therapeutics. Mm-hmm. And I think, we say it so often that it goes right over most people's head, but the science-based part of this is a big part of it. And if anybody tells you that those naturopathic doctors don't have any scientific evidence to support what they do. That's just a lie.
It is.
It's just a blatant lie. All you have to do, there's a really interesting website, PubMed. I think it's the website of the Centers for Disease Control, pubmed.com. Just do a internet search. They keep an inventory of all of the published research for pharmaceuticals, for everything, right? So just go to PubMed and type in vitamin C. Go to PubMed and type in calcium. Go to PubMed and type in echinacea. Go to PubMed and type in selenium, right? Pick your favorite nutritional supplement, type it in, and look at the mountains of research that have been done considering it. It's voluminous, and the science is there. I think the easiest way to see that is with the Food and Drug Administration. Now, this is really interesting, because if you have truckloads of published research and the stars have aligned, and you go to the Food and Drug Administration with all your research on exactly the right day, you present your research to the Food and Drug Administration, research concerning medical nutrition, concerning botanical medicine, concerning something that's not a drug, right? You have all of this research, and the stars align. The Food and Drug Administration will grant you something called a qualified health claim.
Okay.
And a qualified health claim, I think it's like, I think that probably it's a little bit like what Fox News is. It's opposition, but not really.
It's controlled.
Controlled opposition.
Yeah.
Exactly what it is. I think that's what qualified health claims are. The Food and Drug Administration bending just a little bit and saying, well, you know what? We're going to give you an inch here. We're going to give you an inch there, just to let you know that we're not the big bad voodoo daddies against all things medical nutrition that everybody thinks we are, even though they are, in point of fact, that. So all you have to do is do an internet search for qualified health claims. I listed them all in one of the appendices of my Attempt to Cure book. But the language is interesting for a qualified health claim. Let me read you excerpts from the Food and Drug Administration's qualified health claims for selenium.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Just selenium.
Just selenium. Okay. And this is from the FDA.
Yeah.
From the FDA.
So in order for the FDA to be able to say this, citizens of the United States had to bring to the Food and Drug Administration truckloads of published research that supported this and say, look, you're supposed to be in charge of public health. This information needs to get out into the public. Give us our day, right? So here's what they say regarding selenium. Selenium may reduce the risk of certain cancers. Some scientific evidence suggests that consumption of selenium may reduce the risk of certain forms of cancer. However, the FDA has determined that this evidence is limited and not conclusive, or selenium may produce anti-carcinogenic effects in the body. Some scientific evidence suggests that consumption of selenium may produce anti-carcinogenic effects in the body. However, the FDA has determined that this evidence is limited and not conclusive. One study suggests that selenium may reduce the risk of bladder cancer in women. However, one smaller study showed no reduction in risk. Based on these studies, the FDA concludes that it is highly uncertain that selenium supplements reduce the risk of bladder cancer, blah, 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 blah. It goes on and on and on like this. So this begs the question. Number one, who made the Food and Drug Administration king?
Right.
Who gave them the keys to the castle? Why is it their determination that underlines what is appropriate and what passes as effective medical treatment? Who did that? Why did that? And why are they in power? They shouldn't be. Remember, people who work for the Food and Drug Administration, who are in charge of the Food and Drug Administration, go to work for the pharmaceutical industry when they retire from the Food and Drug Administration, and that's a revolving door of wickedness that's no bueno.
Very true.
And all of this begs the question. that if you do, in fact, bring mountains of published research to the Food and Drug Administration that says, hey, look, this particular nutrient has shown positive effects in the treatment of such and such a disease. And not just once, but hundreds of times, maybe thousands of times. You would think that a physician or even an administrator who was in charge of, holding the flame of human health and public health, right, would therefore say, wow, that's remarkable. We need to run with this. Call Congress immediately, call the Senate immediately, call the president immediately. We need to fund research along these lines to chase this down and see what's what. Because we could be holding the keys to a cancer cure here.
Right.
We could be. We need to chase this down. But instead of doing that, they give a little bit.
Right.
Say, well, here's your qualified health claim, but it comes with caveats. Some research says yes, some research says no. Food and Drug Administration can't get behind it 100%. Well, that's because, according to the Food and Drug Administration, this comes as an eye-opener for most people. The only thing in the United States, the only thing that can treat a disease is a drug. The only thing that can treat a disease is a drug. So if I discovered that buttercups, right, cured cancer, liver cancer, and I proved it in double-blinded, placebo-controlled studies, 100 times.
Wouldn't matter.
Well,
couldn't be done.
Drug Administration, they would make the buttercup medicine a pharmaceutical.
Right. Yeah.
And they would outlaw growing buttercups in your backyard, and you wouldn't be able to make the buttercup medicine in your backyard. You wouldn't be able to sell the buttercup medicine. The only people that could do that would be the pharmaceutical industry, and that's just not right. This is a giant problem because, right, and this is the intricacies inside of this whole thing are fascinating, and honestly, Joseph Goebbels would be proud.
Very true.
Because on the one hand, they have elected themselves king of all things medical, and if it's not a drug, it doesn't pass muster, period. So we're going to throw the nutritional supplement industry crumbs. Yeah, maybe, okay, that's kind of good, better than nothing. And also, if you make a manufactured nutritional supplement, even if it's been proven to be effective beyond a shadow of a statistical doubt for the treatment, for instance, of high blood pressure, you can't put that on the label because the only thing that can treat a disease is a drug.
Right.
You can't say blood pressure RX. You can say heart health.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So the average consumer who doesn't know anything about what I just said goes to the nutritional, goes to the health food store, goes to the vitamin shop, goes wherever, and looks at the label, and it doesn't say anything about blood pressure, and then it has all these warnings at the bottom. The Food and Drug Administration has not condoned the use of this medicine for the treatment of any physical ailment, blah, 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 blah. Nutritional supplement companies need to do that so they won't be sued.
Right.
But nonetheless, it supports this subconscious belief that all of this medical nutrition stuff really is kind of substandard, back of the bus stuff, and really the only thing that's going to cut the mustard are the drugs. Yeah. And this is the situation that we're at. Now, another interesting thing here, every once in a while, the clouds part and the beams of light come through. Clemson University did a really interesting study with the Beyond Tangy Tangerine product that is part of our Healthy Foundation Pack. They did in vitro studies with the Tangy Tangerine.
So in vitro is in the lab?
In the lab.
Okay,
right.
Go ahead.
Not in animals, living animals, certainly not in living humans.
Yeah.
And they exposed colon cancer cells, liver cancer cells, stomach cancer cells, and breast cancer cells to Tangy Tangerine. And there was a 60% reduction in the colon cancer cells. There was a 65% reduction in liver cancer cells, 65% reduction in stomach cancer cells, and 30% reduction in breast cancer cells. Now, you would think...
And that's published. That's published.
That's published.
From Clemson University in South Carolina.
Clemson University.
Okay.
Right, in their research department. Undergraduate research department. It's science-based.
Yeah.
So Why hasn't that information been taken and run with? Because it's not a drug.
Right.
And because that's outside of the wheelhouse of the Food and Drug Administration, doesn't give a damn about medical nutrition, botanical medicine, doesn't give a damn about anything that's not a drug. And this is a problem.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we haven't had a free medical market since 1912, and it's only inside of a monopoly that nonsense like this can persist. And it will continue to persist, honestly. But this is the world that we find ourselves in. And this is why this platform is so important, because nobody else is talking about this in these details. You know, it's one thing if you're smart enough and you've got enough money, yeah, you know, you can do research to partially prove whatever it is you're trying to do. If you can manipulate the data, if you're smart enough. But what we're talking about here, what I'm talking about here, is science-based, clinically verified. Clinically verified is the key.
Mm-hmm.
You got to have both. You got to have the research, and you got to have the clinical legs to support your science findings. And there's nobody else that's doing that except us. That's why that's why this is important, because nobody's going to get this information anywhere else. It's not the be-all, end-all, cure-all for all human ills, but it is next generation, very sophisticated, science-based, clinically verified therapeutics, the intention of which, interestingly, are to make your body healthy,
Mm-hmm.
not to manage disease,
Mm-hmm.
which pharmaceuticals do.
Right.
You know, given the choice, most people would say, well, what would you rather do, Joe Schmo from Idaho? Would you rather manage your disease with expensive pharmaceuticals that are going to develop side effects, you're going to develop side effects from, and that are going to weaken you over time, leading to the necessity of more drugs in stronger strains with more side effects? Would you like to do that? And by the way, your insurance will pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
Or would you rather employ a science-based, clinically verified medical therapeutic, the intention of which is to make you healthy? Which would you rather do? Well, most people would do the health thing 100%.
Absolutely.
But it's never been described to people
That way.
like that.
No, that's right.
And it's the big pharma monopoly which is responsible for that. And I honestly don't know where this is going to go, Dave, how this is going to end. You know, I keep thinking that we're going to have a breakthrough, right?
No.
Something's going to happen. And, you know, while we're still platformed, while we're not deplatformed, while they haven't cut our tongues out of our head or cut our hands off so we can't type on the keyboards anymore, we're going to keep talking about this because it's really important to understand. And I encourage everybody and their brother to go to Operation Freedom Health, watch the videos, bring yourself up to speed, and for goodness sakes, get started with the medical nutrition because which by the way includes selenium.
Yeah, so Pete, you mentioned selenium earlier. The science, the data, the studies behind selenium. Obviously, you mentioned the FDA has a qualified health alert, qualified health and advisory on selenium.
So the qualified health claim
mm-hmm.
that the Food and Drug Administration allows for selenium,
yes,
is a distillation,
right,
of thousands of published articles.
Got it.
Relating to selenium
mm-hmm.
and its action on the human body. So selenium is to encapsulate selenium, and remember it's one of the 90. There's
right.
89 other nutrients,
mm-hmm.
right, that do
mm-hmm.
other things. Selenium is considered the captain of the fire department in the human body. Right? Everybody knows the police department, which is the immune system.
Correct.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody knows the fire department because the body's putting out fires of inflammation all the time. And it does that through the creation of an endogenous biochemical called glutathione.
Mm.
Glutathione, picture glutathione as the water coming out of the hose of the firefighter,
mm-hmm.
right? Puts out the flames of inflammation in the body. That's what glutathione does.
Mm-hmm.
The problem with glutathione, and this is where the water metaphor breaks down, the problem with glutathione, well, I guess not. I could work it around. The problem with glutathione is that when the body uses it and it puts out a fire of inflammation,
mm-hmm.
it becomes used up and the body can't use it again.
Okay.
So it's like you got the hose in the lake and you're spraying it on the fire, and eventually you're going to run out of water because there's only so much water in the lake.
Mm-hmm.
When you add selenium to the body,
mm-hmm.
selenium recycles the glutathione after it's been used.
Got it.
So that's like having a collection basin, at the bottom of the building that's on fire that collects all the water that's
mm-hmm.
run off
mm-hmm.
and recycles it back into the hose.
Yeah, just like the bottom of a fountain.
Exactly.
Right?
It's a much better idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what selenium does. That's one of the things selenium does. Selenium is also very important for the manufacture of pigment in
mm-hmm.
the body.
Mm-hmm.
Selenium is also important for eye health.
Mm.
And interestingly, in the animal kingdom, the animals that have the best eyesight, like eagles,
mm-hmm.
have the highest concentration of selenium in their eyes of any animal. The better the eyesight, the more selenium. That's found in the eyeball itself. So there's a relationship. We don't know what it is because, we don't have a $10 million to do this research. More's the pity. Between selenium and eye health.
Mm-hmm.
You have any problem with your vision whatsoever, it would be prudent to take a therapeutic dose of selenium, keep your fingers crossed, and see what happens. And, it goes on and on. If you really want to drill into the research, just go to PubMed, pubmed.com, PubMed.com, and type in selenium. Look to see what pops up. Breast cancer, the relationship between selenium and breast cancer is awe-inspiring, quite frankly.
And you mentioned earlier, beyond tangy tangerine, there are three components of the foundation, four components of the foundation pack, right? The OsteoFX, the beyond tangy tangerine, the fatty acids, and the plant-derived minerals, right?
Yep.
That would be, it's called the foundation pack. That's the foundation of folks' medical nutrition that they need with the 90 essential nutrients and minerals.
100%. And in that package is all the selenium your body needs. Now, selenium, like calcium, like magnesium, is a mineral.
Right.
Your body can't make a mineral.
Nope.
It's got to come from the outside. And plants can't make minerals. Animals can't make minerals. The only way that minerals, which are a big flipping deal, get into the body is if they're in the soil that the food is growing in. So the carrot sucks up the mineral and you eat the carrot and life is good. Or the grass sucks up the mineral, the cow eats the grass, you eat the cow, life is good. But the minerals, the amount of minerals that are in the soil, and this is academic by the fact, this is an academic, and they found this out starting in the 1930s, that the level of minerals in the soil in the United States is crashing dramatically, which we believe is directly related to the rise of chronic disease.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Not enough minerals, more chronic disease.
Right.
It's almost like a one-to-one relationship. So in order to optimize your body's built-in God-given ability to be healthy, you got to give your body the raw materials that it needs, two-thirds of which are minerals.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to get the minerals from your food. I don't care if you have an organic farm and 100 acres of organic farmland. You only eat the stuff you grow. You're going to be deficient in minerals because the minerals aren't in the soil.
Mm-hmm.
Not all of them.
Mm-hmm. They've been depleted.
And the farmers don't know how to put minerals in the soil, and they don't, even if they wanted to, there aren't really any resources for that. So you have to supplement with minerals. And the minerals are part of the foundation pack. You get extra selenium in the foundation pack, and it was put in there in extra amounts for this very reason, because of all of the qualified health claims, the tremendous amount of research done on selenium.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got your flipping back. This is what we do. This is our wheelhouse. This stuff is formulated for a reason, or many reasons, many science-based reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And this isn't just another multivitamin. This is not that.
And full disclosure, those products that Peter spoke about, the foundation packs, they're all available on OperationFreedomHealth.com, OperationFreedomHealth.com. Full disclosure, purchase of those products on that platform to support this platform. Peter, I'd like to thank you for everything you have done, are doing, and will do. Now, in addition to OperationFreedomHealth.com, you also have a website. Educate our listeners on that website and the content present on that site.
So if you like what Dave and I are talking about, you want to get a little more in depth, you want to educate yourself a little more, then visit my website, become a subscriber to my online information. I've got hundreds of hours of video tutorials that really go into depth about all of these subjects. And there's many ways to get to my website. I think the easiest way is just type in drglidden.com. It takes you right to where you need to go, drglidden.com. You can either spell that out or use the abbreviation. They both work. So visit that website and inform yourself, because there's nobody talking about this in the public platform, and this information literally will save lives.
And the names of the book that you can get on Amazon are Everybody is Sick and I Know Why, and Attempt to Cure with Holistic Medicine. Peter, thank you for everything you have done, are doing, and will do. I'd like to thank you folks for joining us today. Until next time, Dave Janda signing off. Dream big and dare to fail. Thanks for your time.